13th Jurors. Hello. Long time no see. Where you been for the last 35 seconds? Hello. I am here. JT will be shortly. While he is okay, I want to say that I thought it was amazing that Kirk pointed out the storm. And also, I can't keep it on because I've got to figure out my settings to where you can see it. But if you can see where it says on air, and it's so pretty, and I love it so much, but my camera settings are not like picking it up. So I have to figure out how to make that happen. But I love my sign and I appreciate it. I went to the post office yesterday and got it out of my PO box. So is Frankie in here? Frankie's World in here. Oh, look who it is!
Hi.
Oh hey there.
Sorry. I just got back. I went on vacation to scream in my pillow.
Can I just say, do you remember when we were doing the Lori Vallow thing, and it was like the day before it was going to verdict watch, or the day before closings, and you remember I spent hours and hours and hours prepping for that like recap thing, and we started to do it, and all of a sudden I was doing it. I think you were working or something, and I started to do it, and my internet kept doing that exact same thing that his was doing, and it kept freezing, and I kept going, oh, can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me now? And then it kicked me off completely, and everybody's waiting on me. So, and it ended up great anyway. Sometimes you get rocky starts, but it works. And that was a great interview. He's amazing.
Yeah, I'm glad we kind of shifted. I think that was best for everybody. I think everybody in the chat enjoyed it, I suppose.
Yeah.
It looked like it anyways. So, and after a while, I'm sure it gets pretty old to answer the same questions over and over again about the one trial. So,
yeah.
Oh boy. Woo. Woo.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. He was indeed. I'm excited to restart the trial and get going on it. I know you want to go to bed for sure.
I sure do. I am so tired. I'm exhausted. Yeah, but in a fabulous way. This has been an amazing day. Like being able to, start the day with such an amazing interview with Mark, and then being able to end the day and getting, he, like, Kirk just has so much good stuff to say. And I know that us having him on is because we're streaming this trial again, but the interview ended up being so much more than just, having him on because we're streaming the trial again. So I thought that was amazing. So
yes,
wonderful.
And truly, if you didn't see it, I mean, definitely go pick this book up. I'm underlining, I'm making notes, I'm highlighting, and then of course the second one's already out too. And sometimes if Amazon's nice, you get to bundle them. So I shall be continuing on with those. They're very well written, and I'm excited about it. Whew. Well, thank you, Brandi, for joining. Appreciate you.
No problemo. All right, y'all. I am going to let y'all handle it. I'm going to spread out it with the way that between the interview and then going straight into the Melly trial. I didn't actually get. I haven't left this seat much today, so I want to go spread out like this and just lay down. So I appreciate y'all so much, and y'all enjoy it. I'm leaving.
Yes.
I'm ditching jury duty a little bit early. So, all
right. That's right.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
All right. Bye, Brandi. Whew. Oh, man. Welcome to the new. You all have seen some of this already. I've also learned that these lovely neon signs like to go a little lower on light so you can see them better, which is nice. And I've added myself a nice backdrop, which you can still see the clamps. So I got to figure that out too. But you know what? Let's hop right in. We're gonna hop back into the actual trial. And the witness we have up is the Verizon Wireless Records custodian, Jodi Citizen, which, tell me that's not the coolest name in the world, Jodi Citizen. Yes, Jams, I have a wig wall. Yes, my wig is indeed on the wall. This entire wall now, I'm wrong hand. This entire wall now is filled with things that you all wonderful people have sent, and I really appreciate it, for sure. I've pulled everything off in terms of wrestling, and ta-da! Here it is. Boy, oh boy, I'm humbled by it. It's a nice reminder of just how amazing you all are, and you are every single day. And so, all right, let's get started. Maybe. Let me do the right view. There we go. All right.
Jodi Citizen,
And who do you work for?
Verizon Wireless.
How long have you worked
Please
with
tell me you can hear it.
Verizon Wireless?
12 and a half years.
And what are part of your duties with Verizon Wireless?
I serve as a records custodian. I handle consumer litigation, and I work with the regulatory agencies of our industry.
Did you bring with you today a portion of the telephone records associated with a subscriber by the name of Travis Alexander?
Yes.
May I have those, please?
Yes.
They are marked as Exhibit 362. These records that you have in front of you, were they made at or near the time of the telephone call when it was made?
Yes.
And these records that you have here, were they made by the information that was being transmitted by the handset at the time that the call was being made?
Yes.
And these records, are they kept or made as part of a business practice of Verizon?
Yes.
And what records do you have there in terms of the dates? What's the first date that you have there?
We had fast forwarded,
May 31st, 2000.
and so we're going back to
And
where
what's the last
we
date that you have?
we fast forwarded to watch Kirk work, and
June
so
15th,
we're going to go back.
2008.
Appearing on
to where
those
we
telephone
ended
logs is there
originally.
a telephone number 831-402-1901?
Yes.
Go ahead and, with this yellow marker, go ahead and mark through it from one end of the paper to the other, all of those calls involving that telephone number.
Working on a banner, so you all know who this is.
I'm finished.
Okay.
What's that?
Exhibit. The original exhibit 362.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 362 is admitted.
Take a look at the first page. And what was the mobile phone number that was involved with Mr. Alexander?
951-536-2162.
In the second page, what does this show us here?
Subscriber information associated with the account.
And what's the address that's listed there?
11428 East Queensboro Avenue, Mesa, Arizona, 85212.
And on this page, we're looking at
No, I told them.
on the left side, it has some names on it. You see that? It's, for example, this one says Marina PKT GTWA GT WY. What is that column for?
That column represents the switch that managed the call. Each line has a designation for the switch.
All right. And then the other line, we have the number, and isn't that Mr. Alexander's number?
Yes,
Why is that in that column there? What does that mean?
that column shows the target number that these records are for.
And then at the top of this second column, it says dialed digit number. Is that the number that
I went to
was
work right
dialed,
afterwards.
or does that mean he was
Right afterwards.
this telephone was receiving a call?
That column shows the number that is receiving the call.
So in this case, in this entry that we're looking at, Mr. Alexander was receiving a call, correct?
Yes,
Then it talks about in the next column, call direction. What is
Can't
this
do it.
column for?
Won't let me.
a column designates whether the call was inbound to the target number, outbound from the target number, or if the calls were forwarded to voicemail.
And what does the 6 tell you?
6 lets us know that the call was inbound to the target number.
So somebody was calling in.
Correct.
And the next column is pretty self-explanatory, but what's the date?
June 2nd, 2008,
And at what time?
1:08 a.m.
And is the time kept in military time, or is it kept by the 12-hour clock?
Military time.
So that would be 1:08 in the morning, correct?
Yes.
The next column talks about seizure duration. What does that column represent?
It represents the length of the call in seconds.
In terms of a call that is being made and when Verizon starts logging it, if I make a call and the phone on the other end starts ringing, is that when this 17 seconds start? Or does it start when either the voicemail picks up or the person picks up?
It starts as soon as the individual placing the call press send and it hits the network. At that point, the clock has started.
All right. And then it talks about the first serving cell site has 115. What does that mean?
That represents the cell site that would have carried a call outbound from the target number. It shows Tower 115.
All right. And the
How
last
come his voice isn't what
serving
picks
cell
up when I call
site is the
Verizon?
same one, correct?
I'm just
Same
saying.
tower. That column is representative of the tower that handled calls inbound to the target number.
The fact that it's the same cell site, does that indicate that the phone number was stationary at the time during this whole call or not?
No, that's just the information that is captured.
Okay. And right over here, it gives us a number of the party who actually called, right?
Correct.
And that was the number that I asked you about, 831-402-1901. To go back to the seizure duration, it does talk about 17. Is that minutes or seconds, or what is that?
17 seconds.
Okay. If we look right underneath there, at the same time, there's another indication there of 18 seconds. What are we looking at there? See that?
I do. It's the length of the call.
It's the same call though, right?
It is the same call.
And then directly underneath there, it's the same date and the same time and the times that they were made, 108 and 109. Is this one call that we're looking at right there?
No, the first 2 lines that are highlighted represent one call.
So these 2 are one call, okay?
Correct.
And then this one, is that another call or what is that?
That is another call, and the line right under it is part of that same call.
Okay, and how about this one down here?
Starting at 109,
Sure, let's go down there. Is that a different call?
it is
Okay, so how many total calls are we looking at here?
3.
Then if we go down here, we can see where the call was made but what I'm interested in, again, it's that same number calling Mr. Alexander, correct?
Correct.
And this one indicates that this was at 3:21, so that's 3:21 in the morning, right?
Correct.
And then it says 5 seconds, right?
Correct.
Is that just like the ringing of the phone and the person hangs up. Is that sort of what we're looking at there or not?
Objection, both for speculation.
There's two lines there.
Okay.
Can move that back over. Call is forwarded to voicemail. We don't see what is happening after that, but it's 5 seconds. Can't speculate beyond that.
When you say that it's forwarded to voicemail, how do you know that on that particular call?
The F under the call direction column.
And so if we look up there, we also see the F there. That also means it forwarded to voicemail, correct?
Correct.
Now there are 2 entries here at the very bottom of this page, and then there's 2 entries that are at 4:03. Is that the same call that we're looking at?
Can you move the paper to you? Yes,
And the duration of that call is how long?
298 seconds.
The other page, we see another call on June 2nd, 2008 at what time?
5:28 p.m.
And this really is just one call, correct?
Correct.
And the time of that call is how much?
The length of the call is 168 seconds.
Why do we have 164 and 168 when we know that it's the same call?
There is routing that's taking place here because of where the device may be in connection to the network. The call is forwarded, well, this call is not forwarded to voicemail, but there's call routing that's taking place here. So we have 2 lines that represent one call. If you move all the way to the left, you'll see there's 2 switches that are being indicated here, Gilbert and the Marina packet gateway, that's showing that there's routing taking place.
Okay, so this extra time is for the routing that's happening, correct?
Well, it's not that there's extra time. The total length of that call is 168 seconds. The 4-second discrepancy there does represent the routing.
All right. See another call on June 3rd, 2008 at what time?
12:37 p.m.,
And what is the length of that call?
17 seconds.
Just to go over to the, it's still the same, I guess, switches that are involved, right?
Correct.
Then we see another call the same day at what time?
1:51 p.m.,
And this one is how
Thanks,
many
Buffy. Not-
seconds?
170 seconds.
Wiggle Styles is doing some research.
And the one at the bottom, again, it's the 3rd at what time?
That is 8 p.m., 8:16 p.m.,
And the length of that call is what?
129 seconds.
And again, the routing switches are,
Gilbert Marina Packet Gateway.
still on June 3rd. What time is this call?
Is it just me or if they've
8:34
gotten a
p.m.
lot faster?
And its length
at
is what,
covering
49
phone
seconds?
records?
Correct.
And the cell sites are still the same as before, correct?
The switches, correct.
The switch, all right. Now, we get to the bottom and it says Los Angeles 45, Gilbert. What is that
Yep.
there? What's going on here?
Different switches that are managing those calls. And then we have calls that are eventually being forwarded to voicemail.
Still a great show,
So
though.
these are being forwarded to voicemail then, right?
Correct.
And what's the time on this one?
11:37 p.m. on June 4th, 2008.
Let's take a look at Exhibit 161. Let me remove the glare. What is the date on this particular exhibit? Once it focuses in again.
June 4th, 2008.
And the time is what?
5:31 p.m.
Is the
That can be
time on
done
this
and
exhibit
arranged.
before or after the time that you have here?
Before.
So this is at 11:37 PM though, right?
Correct.
And this is 5:31 PM. Isn't 5:31 before 11:37 at night?
Yes.
So this is after then, what we're
I
looking at.
apologize. Yes, after.
And this is one call, and what's the duration of that call?
31 seconds.
But that call is forwarded, right?
It is eventually forwarded to voicemail, yes.
So in this case, did this telephone number that we're talking about, was it picked up and somebody answered or not?
No, the call was forwarded to voicemail.
Then we look down at the bottom. And you see there's another date of June 4th at 11:48 PM. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then there's a time of 169 seconds. Do you see that?
Yes.
In terms of minutes, about how much is that?
Just under 3 minutes.
Does that call there, is that associated with the two entries above it, or is it associated with the next entry that we see here? It says 11:48, and then it has seizure duration 24. Is it associated with the previous entry, or is it associated with the entry that's below it?
It's associated with this entry here at 23:48 or 11:48 p.m.
All right. And then if we go down, there is another call at 11:53 p.m., right? On the
Yes.
floor. And we've established that if we looked at Exhibit 161, these calls are after the time that's listed on these on this photograph, correct?
Correct.
Then that's 961 seconds, right?
Correct.
About how much time is that in minutes?
About 16 minutes.
What is the longest, or does Verizon have the voicemail feature?
Yes.
Does it have more than one type of feature that is offered to the customer?
Yes.
What are the features?
We have a basic voicemail feature and an enhanced voicemail feature.
And on the basic voicemail feature, how long or how much time is allotted for voice messages?
The maximum length is 3 minutes.
How about the other version, the enhanced?
The enhanced has a maximum length of 5 minutes.
So this one, if it's 16 minutes, these are not voicemails that are being left, right?
Correct.
And if a person is in Mr. Alexander's phone on June 4th, 2008 for 16 minutes, and they're not leaving a voicemail, what is going on?
Projection calls for speculation. The records indicate forwarded voice.
Sustained is phrased.
In your experience as a custodian of records, this period of time, is the person leaving a voicemail that called in?
Not past 5 minutes.
And what are the possibilities with regard to a call that's 16 minutes long, in your experience with Verizon, as to what could be happening with the phone?
Somebody who's listening to messages.
In order to listen to messages, does a person need a PIN number, or how does Verizon work that?
Yes, a PIN number is needed to access a voicemail.
And again, this was on what date and time?
June 4th, 11:53 p.m., June 4th of 2008.
And just taking a look at this one, 163. I'll give it to you so you can take a look at it at the date and time. What's the date and the time on that exhibit?
June 4th, 2008, 5:33 p.m.
So this time that's on that exhibit, 163, is that before or after this excursion into this telephone checking voicemails?
This picture is before.
And this number that's out here on the right, is that the apparatus telephone number that was conducting that search into Mr. Alexander's number?
Correct.
Let's take a look at the last page. Start with the date. You see the date there?
June 14th, 2008.
That's 10 days after the call that we just looked at, correct?
Correct.
And the time on that one is what?
That is 9:20 p.m.
And the number that's attempting the call is the same one that we've been looking at before, correct?
Yes.
This is the same number that was accessing the voicemail, right?
Yes.
This only has one switch on the left. What does that mean?
There was no routing necessary. It went straight to voicemail.
And the app also indicates that it went straight to voicemail, right?
Correct.
I don't have any other questions.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Citizen, good morning.
Good morning.
I want to begin I believe when you began your testimony here this morning,
He is always snazzy.
you were asked to, what I thought I heard was highlight the calls that involved the number 831-402-1901. But it appears you only highlighted the ones that were made from that number, not the ones that were made to that number by your customer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What I'd ask you to do then is you could for us, and I have a different color highlighter, if you could highlight the calls that your customer, Mr. Alexander, made from 951-536-2162 to that 831 number, I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Judge, objection based on defense counsel's objection of yesterday.
And may I approach?
Yes.
Mr. Citizen, I'm going to show you what has been marked as exhibit number 363. Could you take a look at that and see if you recognize those records?
I do.
And what are those, sir?
There are call records for mobile directory number 951-536-2162.
And are those the exact same records that were reflected in exhibit 362 that you discussed a few moments ago?
Yes.
Now what I'd ask you to do again, I renew my request, just to refresh your memory, there were calls your customer, what I was asking for is your customer, Mr. Alexander, his number is what?
951-536-2162.
Okay. And could you do me a favor then and highlight the calls Mr. Alexander made from that number to 831-402-1901? And if I may approach, Judge. Thank you, sir. And just let us know when you're done.
I'm finished.
I read a big chunk of it. I did.
Yes, sir.
I tried to read it as quick as I could. It was delayed in getting to me. So only so much time. But I definitely tried.
Exhibit 363.
No objection.
And Mr. Citizen, if you could, maybe we'll go through kind of a reorientation here in terms of how it works when the records go from your customer to another person, okay?
Okay.
So it appears based on what you told us before, the far column, the column to the far right, excuse me, is the person who is the calling party, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And the dialed number here, that is the person that your customer has called. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And then when we see this column over here, that just relates to the your trace on whatever number phone is being used. Is that accurate?
That's one way of putting it, yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your answer.
That is one way of putting it, yes.
Okay. Did I put it in correctly?
No, that column just shows that these records are for that number, 951-536-2162.
Okay. Now going back then, based on what you told us before, this column here denotes the number of seconds that the call lasts, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So looking at this call on June 2nd at 3:04 a.m.,
Correct.
and that is 1,011 seconds, correct?
Correct.
And again, I think we talked about it a little before, that's probably over 16 minutes.
It is.
Okay. Can you calculate for us what that is?
It's about 18 minutes. Just under 18 minutes.
I'm sorry?
Just under 18 minutes.
Just under 18 minutes? Okay. And again, the recipient of that was the 831 number, correct?
Correct.
And just to bring it into view here, the dialer was the 951 number, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if we go down a little farther, we have, I believe what we can see is another call on the 2nd.
I need her to decide whether she's going to have
And it
bangs
looks
or not.
like
Because
3:21
I need her to come in.
a.m., correct?
Correct.
Although
Now, I said another
looks
call, and maybe that was incorrect
she
assumption
was
on my
generally scared of
part.
commitment. Anyways,
Is that accurate? You grouped some of the calls together on time, so I just want to make sure we're accurate.
Well, this is its own individual. This one line represents one call.
Okay, all right. And that call came from the 951 number, and it was 2,450 seconds.
Correct.
Okay. And would you be able to do the math for us on how long a call that is?
Just under 41 minutes.
Okay. You were asked about the voicemail features on Verizon. I think there was a a standard voicemail and deluxe or
Yep.
expanded voicemail. Is that the word you use?
Enhanced.
Did indeed.
Enhanced, okay. Does Verizon voicemail allow for someone to erase their message and start over? Sometimes you get calls that say, if you're satisfied with your message, press blank. If not,
Yes.
yeah, okay. So when you said that when you told this Mr. Martinez that in your experience, you thought someone was going in there, you really didn't know that for sure. They could have been erasing their messages and doing it over again. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Your Honor, that's all the questions I have.
Redirect.
So with regard to Exhibit 363, it's this one with the blue lines on it. And we talked about you see those blue lines there?
Yes.
How many calls does that represent?
2.
And with regard to the totality of calls in Exhibit 363, from Travis Alexander to the target number, how many are there total in the whole record that you have in front of you?
Calls from 951-536-2162 to the 831 number.
Correct.
In total, there were 2.
And if we do the other way from the 831-402-1901 number to Mr. Alexander's number, which is Exhibit 362, how many calls are there, sir?
Where's Brandi? Somebody get me Brandi. Saturday, I think.
All right, I may have those 2 exhibits back. You were asked in terms of how many calls had been made from Mr. Alexander's telephone out to the target number. Do you remember being asked that by defense counsel? And you said 2, remember that?
Yes.
With regard to any calls being made by Mr. Alexander's number to this target number, were any of them made after June 4th, 2008 at 5:32 in the evening?
No.
And with regard to that particular date, were there any calls made from Mr. Alexander's number, period, after June
That was rude
4th,
for them to put that up without
2008
warning me.
at 5:32?
I didn't look for that specifically. I'd have to look at the records again.
Take a look at Exhibits 362 or 363, whichever one will help you.
There are no calls made from Travis's number.
And by, in the reverse, how many calls were made to Mr. Alexander's number, either from Exhibit 362 or 363, from this target number that we've been talking about?
Yes and no. Not all of them. But I sure wasn't ready for that to be shown during
Overall.
a redirect of Verizon person.
To the Mr. Alexander's number after June 4th, 2008 at 5:32. How many?
I need his razor because this guy is lined up so nicely. I also need time to do it, but
4.
I need this guy's razor.
If I may have those back. Should we have 363 mark? I don't have any other questions.
Mr. Norman, did you have anything to follow up?
Sir, I'm going to show you again
Hi, Sydney.
what's been, we'll use Exhibit 363.
I think you've been here for a while,
Could you
though.
tell us when these records begin, begin date and end date?
May 31st of 2008 through June 15th of 2008.
Okay. And these records don't reflect any text messages
you.
that were sent, correct?
Correct.
So the person in the 831 number, you don't know, they could have been responding to a text message or some other contact to make these calls, correct?
We don't know that with these records here.
You wouldn't know that with those records.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
In terms of text messages, what is the retention policy for Verizon back in June of 2008? For text messages.
We kept that information. We kept the date, the time, the number that sent the text message, and the number that received the text message for a year, a rolling year. The actual content of the messages we
Verizon
only
gave him
kept
one.
for an average of 3 to 5 days.
So the content or what was sent, you only kept for 3 to 5 days, right?
Correct.
And after the 3 to 5 days, what would happen to the message or the content?
That information was overwritten on our servers and no longer available.
I don't have any other questions.
Any questions from the jury for this witness? Thank you. You may step down. Ladies and
Sure
gentlemen, we
did.
are going to take the noon recess at this time. Please be back in the designated area at 1:25.
Your Honor. And we have certainly, yesterday we made a motion for mistrial, and we will be providing some of the documents for prosecutorial misconduct. The state has done it again. We have the state has elicited testimony that it knows to be incorrect because he talked about text messages not existing and then being erased, but in fact, those text messages were later disclosed after much litigation. So he has brought forth evidence from Mr. Citizen that is inaccurate. I do have one other issue, but I'll rest on that. As cumulative and for the court's consideration to the documents we will submit, hopefully later today or tomorrow.
Mr. Martinez?
The state doesn't know if these comments about the text messages are made just out of an ignorance or deceit. And I will leave that to the court to decide after reviewing the pleadings in this case. Mr. Citizen's testimony was that Verizon overrides or deletes these messages after 3 to 5 days. Everybody heard that. And yesterday when we discussed the telephone, and Detective Melendez was on the stand, he indicated that there is a program that goes to the actual telephone, whatever the exhibit number is of the telephone. And that at the time that he was going into the telephone, he doesn't work for Verizon. He works for the Mesa Police Department. So he has no connection to Verizon. But when he went to the actual telephone, the SIM card or the memory stick, whatever you want to call it, in that particular card. For example, if we're going to talk about the camera, if it's made by Canon, he didn't go to Canon to get the documents or the photographs. He went to the actual SIM card or the memory stick to get that information. The same thing with the telephone. He went to the telephone, attempted to get the text messages, and he said the technology was not available for me to extract it. I could view it, but I couldn't extract it. Once the technology was available to extract it from the telephone, not Verizon, then it became available to the defense 2 years ago. So I'm not sure why this argument was even made other than to waste somebody's time. I don't know whose time is being wasted, but it's just at this point, as I said, the state is not sure if it was made out of ignorance or deceit. I'll leave that for you to decide.
Mr. Neri.
Your Honor, it's made out another, it's made out of disgust. What has happened here, and the state brings up an excellent point, the state has just solicited testimony that these text messages aren't available for Mr. Citizen. And as the state has just alluded to, we heard yesterday, despite all the pleadings to the contrary, on January 11th, 2010, for example, the state says these text messages don't exist.
I don't know about you guys, but
Presumably based on the same
when
kind
I don't
of
want to do
testimony
something,
Mr.
it's
Citizen's
very
given,
very
and
hard
now
for
the
me to put
story
100%
again
in.
changes. And as the
And
state
boy,
just
oh boy,
pointed
he
out,
did
they're
it.
on the phone, so the state attempted to elicit testimony to deceive
Good night.
the availability of these text messages as it relates to Miss Arias's phone calls, trying to make it look like, well, we can't tell what happened when that's
Yes.
not true. So again, we
Yes.
will add this cumulative to the motion to the documents that
let
we
me
will submit today, and just
find
wanted to make a record of that.
a line in the
All right,
book
your record is made.
real quick.
See you after lunch.
One
Yes.
more issue.
We are requesting independent testing, some of the things that the state brought up during their case of what has been marked as Mesa Police Department property ID number 402872. That is the Canon camera. I believe it was on the 28th of December. Ms. Wilmot and I were able to at least view that, although we need to do some forensic analysis on that. It was available in the Mesa PD property. We're asking that Detective Flores bring this to court tomorrow to hand over to our investigator so that testing can be done. I asked for that specifically because last time we asked to test a hard drive, the state said that it wasn't available. They needed to find it, and they surreptitiously shipped it off to Texas. So we want to ensure that that doesn't happen this time and ask for a court order that my investigator pick that up from Detective Flores tomorrow.
What is the item you are asking to
I'll
test?
read it out.
I'm using the Mesa Police Department ID number 402827. That is a Canon camera that belonged to Miss Arias. It was originally seized by the Wairika Police Department using their denotation 4DY.
From the state?
These items have been available to the defendant throughout this whole trial. He could have taken them at any time. He could take them now if he wants to. I'll just have to consult with Detective Flores to see if we can even get it down here today so that he can go about his way and take a look at something that's been available for the last 4 years.
Oh,
Do you have someone
jeez.
here today to take this item from Detective Flores if he brings it in?
I could make calls over the lunch hour to see if I can obtain someone to do that.
All right, we'll address this after the lunch hour.
Whoa. Wowzers.
Jodi.
All right. So yes, so there was a question about, whether they thought he was guilty already, or, all just a lot. It was a really good question. And so let me just kind of read just a quick section here. I think it kind of indicates that answer. But so he wrote, saving the client's life is job number one for a capital attorney. In fact, it is really the entire job, in that ethically doing this job is more important than defending the person against the charge of first-degree murder. That means that how you attack the state's case, how you present your defense, how you choose your jurors is all geared towards the idea of saving your client's life. Seeking a verdict of not guilty really does not come into the picture. As I say this, let's see. Yeah, I think he said I make no apologies to anyone about doing everything it took to save Miss Arias's life because it is what was required of me, not only because of my duty to Miss Arias, but because it was what the United States Constitution demands. And he says that, see, this is why I really like how he writes. He says, and I don't want to get copyrighted, so hopefully he's okay with this. This is not to say that I do not have sympathy for Mr. Alexander's family and all those who care about him. In fact, just the opposite's true. Oftentimes during this case, I thought about how horrible it must be for them having to deal not only with the murder itself, but the trial as well. That being said, I had to let the sympathy I had for these people diminish my zeal. Or sorry, had I let the sympathy I have for these people diminish my zeal, I would not have been doing the job demanded of me. And had I failed to do so, there is a good chance that whatever was going to happen at trial would be overturned. So I think he knew. I think he knew what was up. I think that's a hard mindset to go into a case with the idea of, we're not going to fight the guilty not guilty, but we are going to try and keep you off a death row. Yeah, absolutely, I couldn't do the job either. There's no way. I think in my brain, you know how, like, first off, if you have a farm, that's awesome, but you know how, like, the idea of a farm, or for some people, or the idea of living in the city is really cool. And then you get the farm and you live in the city and you're like, I don't know if that really works. I see it like that. Like, I would really like to fight for people, right? And what they, and work to kind of find the right level of justice. But I also feel like being in that would weigh so heavily that I just couldn't do it. Like, my brain is not. I'm the kid that got embarrassed for the kid across the room who got in trouble. Like, I'm that kid, right? Like, I feel for that kid, even if I didn't like the kid. So I don't know if I would not be built for it. I would not be built for it. All right, so we're going to continue on. Now, I will say this, the next video seems like it is a truncated version of the interrogation that we've been watching. However, there's like an added bonus of them doing a split screen in different aspects of Jodi watching as this is being played. And so it's really interesting. And hopefully you're fine with watching it in terms of, checking it out again. We had a lot of great commentary the last time. I don't think it's everything. That's why we watched it. Kind of the majority of it. But I think this is going to be really interesting.
Mr. Martinez, you may call the state's next witness.
The state called Lawrence Laddish.
Who was that?
Spell your last name, please.
GLADYSH.
Raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Your name, sir?
Larry Gladish,
Who do you work for?
Mesa Police Department.
Back in June, just 2008, did you work for the Mesa Police Department?
Yes, I did.
What area?
I was in our homicide unit.
And did you have occasion to assist in the investigation involving the killing of Travis Alexander?
Yes, I did.
And specifically with regard to that, in his telephone, were you tasked or were you assigned to do something with regard to obtaining his voicemail messages from his telephone?
Yes, I was.
And what's the process that you undertook?
I wrote a court order to have the PIN number changed to his voicemail account so I could access the voicemail account.
And what date was that?
That would be June 25th, 2008.
This man
And
most
after that,
assuredly starches his
What
shirt.
did you do? How
For
were you
sure.
able to access it?
I called the voicemail from my desk phone and I recorded the voicemail messages that were on his account.
Take a look at Exhibit 366. You familiar with this?
Yes, I am.
What are those 2 pages?
They're called detail records.
For what telephone number?
831-402-1901.
Don't make me do the SpongeBob laugh.
You know the name of the person.
Don't make me do it.
That is associated with that, right?
Yes, I do.
And what's the name that you believe is associated with that number?
Jodi Arias.
And with regard to that particular number and the call log that's involved, was there a call that you were interested in that was on June 4th, 2008 at
Welcome to Night Court.
11:48 in the evening?
Your Honor, object to this point, we approach.
With regard to that particular call, did that involve 831-402-1901?
It's the sleepy man.
Yes,
It's the
And with
sleepy man.
regard to that call, was there a voicemail that you were able to obtain that was associated with that?
You don't
Yes.
want it. You don't want it. You think you do, but you don't.
Prior to coming to court, did you have occasion to listen to Exhibit 365?
yes, I did.
And is that the voicemail that was associated with that call that we just referenced?
Yes, sir.
I move for the admission of Exhibit 365.
No objection.
365 is admitted.
Midnight. Anyway, right about the time you're starting to gear up. I know Leslie called you, so I already talked to her, so you can call her back if you want, but it's not necessary. My phone died, so I wasn't getting back to anybody. And what else? Oh, and I drove
It's on the
100
list.
miles in the wrong direction, over 100 miles, thank you very much. So yeah, remember New Mexico? It was a lot like that, only you weren't here to prevent me from going into the 3 digits, so fun. Tell you all about that later. Also, we were talking about, when we were talking about your travels my way, I was looking at the May calendar, so I'm all confused. But Heather and I are going to see Othello on July 1st, and we would love for you to accompany us.
I should get my pirate puppet.
I don't know when
as
King
this is
Freedom's
happening.
event is though, but it's on the list. So we could do Shakespeare, Crater Lake, and the coast. So if you can make it, if not, we'll just do the coast in Crater Lake. But let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
End of message. To delete this message, press 7. To save it in the archive, press 9. Message will be saved for 21.
With regard to this particular message and reviewing those telephone records that you have in front of you, were you able to determine where the caller was when this call was placed?
The caller would have been about 45 miles north of Kingman and about 27 miles, which is about 27 miles south of the Nevada border, approximately.
I don't have any other questions.
Saving lives. Saving lives.
Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Detective.
Good night.
Sir?
And go.
Couple quick questions for you, sir.
Oh yeah, Jodi is wearing red,
Was
right?
that the
Good thing Letitia
only
wasn't in.
voicemail that was on Mr. Alexander's phone when you examined it?
Thank
Well, I
you.
didn't examine the phone. Those are what I downloaded from the voicemail server that Verizon Wireless has, and there was more than one voicemail on there, yes.
And perhaps I ask it inartfully. The voice, you retrieved the voicemail, that wasn't the only voicemail,
Correct.
right? Okay. And that
So
wasn't the
nice.
only
You know what I mean? He respects the
phone
witnesses.
that, or work that you did in this case. Is that
It would be
correct?
Fascinating to watch.
You sought out other
Trust
phone
Dominique.
records, didn't you?
Correct.
Ron? Okay. As a matter of fact, and have you reviewed your police report recently?
I have.
Okay.
The
You sought
FBI
out the
watching the
records of
stream?
a Dustin Thompson.
She's a
Do you
nurse.
recall that?
I did.
Okay. And an Ashley Thompson, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your understanding of why you did that?
Objection, hearsay, relevant.
Hello, Molly.
Approach.
Detective, drawing your attention back to the cell phone records of Dustin Thompson and Ashley Thompson. What was your understanding of why you were asked to pull those records?
I don't recall the specifics. I just know that they were named very early on in the investigation as maybe having some knowledge of what occurred.
Okay. And based on
We have a
that,
whole nother court
and
report.
who would have directed you to
Just noticed that.
to search out those records?
It could have been one of several people. It could have been Detective Flores, my boss, any sergeant. There were several people working the case at that time. As the information comes in, I'm at the office. They call and say, hey, we got some new information. Can you start working this?
Okay. So you were asked by someone else to obtain these records and sought out court orders to get them. Is that correct? Okay. And the voicemail messages, just
Good
for
night,
our
Marilyn.
understanding, did you listen to all of them, not just the one we heard in court?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Ready to write?
I don't know anything.
Any questions from the jury? It looks like we have one.
Ooh, jury question. It's
Counsel,
in the
please approach.
basket.
Juror question is, could you play the voicemail Exhibit 35? I could not hear it.
Message.
You not-
Hey, what's going on? It's almost midnight. Anyway, right about the time you're starting to gear up. I know Leslie called you, so I already talked to her, so you can call her back if you want, but it's not necessary. My phone died, so I wasn't getting back to anybody. And what else? Oh, and I drove 100 miles in the wrong direction. Over 100 miles, thank you very much. So yeah,
Over 100
remember New
miles,
Mexico?
thank you very
It was
much.
a lot like that. Only you weren't here to prevent me from going into the 3 digits. So fun. Tell you all about that later. Also, we were talking about, when we were talking about your upcoming travels my way, I was looking at the May calendar, so I'm all confused.
That
Heather
question
and I are going
did not
to
have
see
to be
Othello
answered.
on July 1st, and we would love for you to accompany us. I don't know when Team Freedom's event is, though, but, you know,
She
it's on the
sounds
list, so we could do
so
Shakespeare,
normal.
Crater Lake, and the coast. So if you
After
can make it.
murdering
If
him.
not, we'll just do the coast in Crater Lake. But let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
End of message. To delete this message, press 7. To save it in the archives, press 9. Message will be saved for 21.
21 days.
Any other questions from the jury? Any follow-up, counsel?
No, thank you.
Just one quick question, Detective. Do you know the date and time that message was left?
That'll be June 4th at 11:48 p.m.
Okay, and that's based on what you heard in the recording?
No, the phone records.
And that message, I don't know if you can answer this now, but was that deleted off the voicemail or was that fresh on the voicemail?
The way you heard it is the way it played on the voicemail when I accessed the voicemail.
Okay, so you didn't have to go into other areas to like check deleted messages or anything, it was just.
Correct. That's the way it played right there.
Okay, but it was just there, it was in the box with a bunch of other messages, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You may step down. The state may call its next witness.
The state recalls Detective Esteban Flores.
Oh, hey, look. He's back. They're bringing him back. Is he tired of this yet? Oh, no. We get the most random
Detective,
power
you are still under
surges
oath. Do
here,
you
too.
understand?
Yes, I do.
Your name, sir?
Esteban Flores?
And sir, with regard to the handgun that was used in this case, did the police find a handgun back at Mr. Alexander's home?
No, we did not.
Did you attempt to find the handgun?
Yes, we did.
And were you able to find the handgun?
No,
In the knife, was the knife back at the home when the police went through the home?
we never found a knife used.
And did the police attempt to look for the knife?
Yes,
Where did you guys attempt to look for both the knife and the gun?
all through the house, around the house.
How about outside of the house?
Yes,
How about in other places? Did you go to different towns or?
no, we did. Well, we went to Wairika and we attempted to find it there during search warrants that we did there.
Did you have any idea where this knife and gun could possibly be?
No,
Now, sir, we were talking when we left off about conversations that you may have had with the defendant back on June 15th of 2008.
It's
Remember that?
hairspray.
yes,
And we left off where there was this issue about photographs and you were telling her that you were going to show her some photographs, correct?
yes,
Did you eventually show her some photographs?
yes, I did.
And does Exhibit 358 describe your conversation with her involving the photographs as you were showing them to her?
Yes,
Bye.
Admission exhibit 358.
No objection.
358 is admitted.
Honestly, my kid would have asked more questions. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna move my.
What kind of gun is that? Just curious.
It's a Glock.
I just bought a gun.
Yeah, Jim? You probably found it by now.
Probably. I was taking it somewhere.
These are just a few photos. And I want to be careful not showing you certain photos.
Please
because
don't
some of
show
them are very bad.
Apologies for the Night Court logo, but can't move it.
Travis's house, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
Thanks, Amos. Muchas gracias. Thanks for everything you do. You and all the other mods.
If Travis were here today, he would tell you that if it wasn't me.
No. My job is to speak for Travis right now. And everything Travis is telling me is that Jodi did this to me. Have you ever shot that 25-0?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever touched it?
The one that was stolen? I've never seen it. My good grandpa said it looks like a toy one.
She went from "don't show me" to
I don't
"okay,
know
show
what a
me."
25 looks like. I know what a 22 looks like. I know
Just like a 22, actually.
Well, the 22s that I saw kind of looked like the ones in the westerns where they had the barrel and the long. You know. But there was another 22 in this store that looked like a toy gun, so it looked like a squirt gun, like a water gun. I don't know.
I want to know which pictures to show you.
You did a real good job. Truly, I mean,
Get that one.
it was impressive.
Remember him?
Is he naked? In the shower?
Yep. See it. This is
Travis would never go for that.
soon after you and him had
I
sex
can give
on
him an
his bed.
option, girl.
That couldn't have been too soon after.
An hour or so.
The last time
2
I had
hours.
sex, my bed was an 8.
It's interesting that she's being confronted with her own lies and she has no response. I would be so embarrassed. Truly.
This should come out very good. Sarah. Copies of actual photos. That's you. I wanted to cover you up because
Oh,
that's you. All of you.
that looks like me.
All
You.
of
Get
you.
out of my face.
He said all of you.
You can look at the rest of it if you want.
He said, oh, let me look.
There's a few of them. There's a few more. Which I'll try not to show you because I don't want to put you out there like that to people. Let's just say I've seen all of you. And I've seen all of Travis.
One of my favorite lines.
But the one
Let's just say
that
I've
sticks
seen
in my
all of you.
mind of Travis is
Right? You all
the
picked up on it
autopsy
too.
tape. not gonna show you. Or should I? But this one I don't know if I should show you, but nothing bad. Too bad. But it's just one of the photos that was taken by accident. And this is just a small portion of it.
All of me loves
It's your foot, Jodi.
you.
These are your pants. No, it's off color because we had to enhance it and the color kind of changes a little bit. Let's try this.
This is his bathroom. That is not my foot.
These are your pants. It's a different color, like I said, because we had to enhance it and the color changes. Zipper back.
I have both of those pants at home. If these are the same one, though. I don't have a zipper there, though. Not on mine. And this is a black stripe, and this is white, and the black goes around the bottom, too.
Couldn't even recognize Travis. He'd been there so long.
I keep thinking of Brother Hyatt who had to dress him.
You know, this is another one. It's just a copy, but it's you. Same day. All time stamped, all everything. First picture here. See the date. 6/4/08 at 5:22 p.m. Questioning started. Photo of you started, you know, in Travis's bedroom. About 1:30, 1:45, something like that.
I don't know what kind of camera he got.
Right there. See that?
That spot?
See the spots here? They look a different color because we used a chemical to enhance this. That right there, blood. It's a mixture of yours and his. That's your palm.
Oh, but there's a lot of wind resistance.
Of your left palm.
I don't know.
I don't have any cuts on my left palm.
Nobody said that. Your cut was on palm.
Oh.
Do you have any recent cuts that are healing?
Well, my cat scratches me. Little things. These are all her work. You can see this is her. That's her. I've got scars. She's a feral cat. All these little things are her.
Well, enough about your cat, but why is your palm print in blood?
A small feral cat.
How can that be my palm print?
Because you were there.
Like the ultimate, nothing to see here, nothing to see him. Move on, move on, move on, nothing to see.
Right on the wall.
Yeah, she did with that first photo that he showed her of just her face. Yeah, I guess it looks like me.
There's no doubt in my mind that you were there.
I don't know.
There's no doubt in my mind that you
know.
did this. None. So you can go until you're blue in the face and tell me you weren't there and you had nothing to do with it. I won't believe you. I will not believe it. Because Travis is telling me that you did this to him. That's my job. My job is to speak for him.
I won't lie, the split screen really adds something. It's
And
very Spielberg.
I want to know why. It's killing me inside. I don't know
That
why.
seemed like there's no reason for it. There's no reason why. There's no reason I would ever want to hurt him.
There's no way anybody else.
He never raped me.
Nobody.
Never.
There's no way anyone else could have left your palm in blood on that wall. No way. Get that through your head.
If I was going to ever try to kill somebody, I would use gloves. Got plenty of them.
Nobody said you were, you had planned this out perfectly. Maybe you were going there to just talk to him, have a good time with them. Something got out of hand.
Even if I were there, and even if I were going there to just have a good time with him.
What if I tell you somebody saw you there? A neighbor. Do you remember some of the neighbors?
Just
Dave.
Dave.
The next door neighbor? And his wife?
I don't know his wife.
Okay, what about some of the neighbors across the street?
No, I've never met them.
But you've hung around there quite a bit, and they know you. Yeah, they've seen you there on that day.
I wasn't there that day.
Jodi, you were there that day.
And even if I'm trying to think, the majority of the time that I spent there, I had platinum blonde hair. So, I mean, and I've never once said hi to them, met them, shook their hand, met them face to face across the street. When I spent time there, he wanted to keep it private. So it was, I spent the majority of my time inside.
You want to know what they were drawing?
Not, walking around
I'll show you what
outside.
they were drawing. Hold on.
Except for a few times when I took his dog for a walk.
Would they see your car there? Or would you park it down the street?
You're just drawing
they
a bunch
would
of
see it
these.
there. I drove an Infiniti.
Just a bunch of these.
So they would definitely recognize the car, I'm sure.
Come with
Well, there are a
top
lot of
hats.
cars there a lot of the time.
Where's the Infiniti now?
Canes.
I gave it back to the bank.
To the impound yard somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna find any evidence in that car?
You're free to look.
We're gonna look.
You can also look in the rental car.
What company did you rent it from?
I don't remember, but I can check my debit card record. I remember the make and
No,
model.
we're waiting for it anyway. But all the new cars have GPSs in them.
Oh,
I'm not
Factory.
capable.
Not for you to
well then that's
use,
good.
but for us to use if we need to.
Well then that's good, because I was also gonna ask you, I don't know if this is something that you can recall, but a lot of stoplights in Mesa and things have cameras on them. Is there any way we could back that up? Or, if I were going through that tunnel, is that surveillance?
No.
Is there surveillance anywhere?
Unless you ran a red line. Unless you got caught on a speed camera.
I don't know. I don't think so.
But nothing beats that stuff.
Oh, she did? She
And I
tried?
have a solid case against you. And I can present
I
it to
missed
the
that.
judge. As cold as it is now. I don't know why she did it. Or I can present it to the judge with your explanation. With your parents' explanation. Have you talked to your parents about what happened?
I told them I was worried about stuff.
About what stuff?
I said that, well, they knew I was upset about Travis, and I feel really bad by the way I was acting, because it wasn't, especially toward my grandparents. There were a lot of times.
Why are they not surprised that you're sitting here talking to me about this?
What do you mean?
They're not surprised. They're
Probably
concerned. They're
Have you talked to
hurt.
them?
I haven't, but my other detectives have. And they're very concerned with you. But they kind of suspected that you had something to do with Travis's death as well. Whose
No.
parents think
No.
that?
That's because I
I
told
really
them
wanted to ask that question today.
that a lot of people were dropping my name, and I said, I'm not worried about it because I
Night.
didn't do it. I said, but it's hurting my reputation right
My
now.
brain was intended for
And
places at once.
it's casting me in a bad light.
I wouldn't be worrying about your reputation right now. I'd be worrying about the rest of your life. That means nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, my reputation will affect the rest of my life. So I am worried about my reputation.
You're going to continue with the story then that you weren't in Mesa on the 4th, you weren't at Travis's house, you didn't have sex with him
Happy birthday
that
to
day,
you.
you had nothing to do
You're
with his
going
murder.
to a zoo.
Those pictures are, I don't know, to me, pictures are very compelling. I know that they
They are,
can be
Jodi.
modified. I know they can be altered, and date and time stamps, I don't know, but I think they can be
I
tampered
can
with.
modify anything.
I don't think.
Detective, did you then continue to talk to her about whether or not
Mr. Bailiff
had
is up for that
actually
one.
been the person who had killed Mr. Alexander?
Yes, I did.
I looked at the addition of exhibit number 360. It's actually have been switched. I would move 359 in, which is snippet number 13.
Any objection to 359?
And in this snippet, Detective, did you also continue to discuss the photographs, the camera, and the hair?
Yes, I did.
No objection.
359 is admitted.
You have something to tell me, but you're just so resistant. I know you're afraid,
Thank you.
but you're already going through it
Bye.
right now. There's no backing up. There's no backing up to yesterday. There's no backing up to that day. It already happened. And unfortunately, you're gonna have to face the consequences.
If I did that, I'd be fully ready to face the consequences.
If you find that article, can you
I'm
send it to
not
me on my email?
Really for things like, I'm all for the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill.
Ahmad can just drop the email command.
Okay.
That'd be
but-
awesome.
There's no evidence to show anybody else did it. None.
Well, I'm just,
You think we find somebody else's fingerprint if they did that? Possibly. There's something that happens. You keep saying gloves. There's things that happen when people wear gloves. Then we can actually see that, well, somebody wore gloves in this case. Nobody wore gloves in this case. Nobody.
well, I'm
evidence of
just
it.
saying that if I were to carry out something like that, I would have worn gloves. I would have
Nobody
whole
else,
box.
nobody else did this. There's no evidence to show that anybody else did this but you. You were the only
But
one.
those ninjas.
That is it.
Those ninjas.
And I'm not seeing any remorse. I'm not seeing anything from you to make me believe anything otherwise. You can continue to say, I didn't do it.
Well,
But you're the kid
All right.
that got caught on
So,
videotape stealing the candy.
Here's what I want to do.
And you
There's
continue to
121
say,
folk here.
it wasn't me.
We have our John
have the
Thomas
proof.
lines,
I have the pictures.
and now
It wasn't me.
I want Jodi Arias lines. If you
I don't
remember,
think you would admit to it if your own mother saw you.
like
do
John
this.
Thomas doesn't wash his
And she
hands,
told
or
me, yeah, I saw her do this.
or a
You'd
bunch of
say,
good
no,
ones.
it wasn't me.
But I would love
Why won't you admit
to have Jodi Arias one-liners, and I will create a video
I didn't kill Travis.
out of those
I just
one-liners,
didn't. I did not take his life.
and I'll quote you all and put you in the video.
Did you have anything to do with the death of Travis?
I don't think I had anything directly to do with it, but I feel responsible somewhat for it.
Then what can you tell me about his death?
It wasn't me.
You know a lot more about it than I do.
It wasn't
When
me.
I say I feel responsible, it's because I wasn't planning to go there at all, and he really wanted me to go. And I told him no, and I would have if it weren't for Ryan. And there's nothing really with Ryan and I. In fact, he has been very hesitant to move anything forward because he's not sure about me. He said a lot of people are talking. I'll just tell you that right now. I really wish this would get solved so that we can just put it behind us. Maybe that's a good thing because he's not an active church member anyway. But the reason I feel is because if it weren't for Ryan, I would have folded and I would have just scrapped all my plans and spent all of my days there. But I didn't, and I stood strong, and he got mad and got sad, and he guilted me. He didn't get really mad, he just kind of guilted me. And finally I was like, whatever, fine, we hung up. I feel that if I would have gone there, that I could have done something. I could have.
But you were there, Jodi. You were there on Wednesday before.
Can I ask you, I don't know if you know this. Oh, I have a camera in my storage unit that I don't use anymore, that Travis and I used to use frequently. And we took pictures with it. This is, I don't know. This is kind of.
Do you remember taking these pictures?
There were many pictures. Vaguely. We took tons and tons of pictures. Some I saved, most we deleted. Some he sent me through his phone.
We usually deleted all pictures like this.
Yeah,
She treats every toilet like a porta potty. She just hovers.
Computer, camera, anything. They were deleted.
Well, prior to him getting his camera, all those pictures were on my camera. So.
All these same pictures?
I don't know. We took a bunch the week before I left. We took a bunch over the last 6 or 7 months. We took over last year even when we were still dating, but we would delete them mostly. There were some that he sent me that I didn't delete. What I'm asking is it possible that, that my memory card would have been in his camera? They're interchangeable.
Eddie, I won't click on it just because.
You
know what? I will click on it. That's funny.
That's what I'm asking is what kind of memory card it was.
Just a regular little.
He's gonna sue me now.
Well, because I've got one that's like this big, and it's thin. It's like a cracker. And the one I use on my professional camera is like this size.
She
called it like that big.
Like a cracker. I missed that
And
the
the
first
little
time.
one is really thin. And it's got like little thingies here for reading it, and my big one looks like that on the metal part. So that one obviously probably wouldn't be interchangeable because it's a Canon and it's a nice
It's
camera.
not interchangeable, that is.
But the other one, I don't know.
Your camera's here, his camera's there, he just bought that camera.
Well, the other camera that I used before that's broken now, it's in my storage unit, but it's still there.
And you're saying those pictures are on that camera?
No, what I'm saying is I had several memory cards for this camera that I don't have anymore.
Just imagine her feet
And
like
so
John
I guess-
Goodman's in Flintstones.
It's so far
Pop it right up on the
but I guess it's possible that my card.
You're saying somebody took your pictures or your card and is framing you and put that into his camera?
I'm just saying
and-
that if my memory cards were left at his house, he would have used those for his camera.
Lock and load.
I don't know.
That's a.
I can explain the blood though, and I can explain the hair. I don't know about the camera.
I can't explain the blood or there.
Well, the hair,
Buffer.
there's hair everywhere, and probably every square inch of that house. My hair. If you sweep it, you'll get hair everywhere. All over around the toilet, around in the shower. I don't know about the shower because the shower gets used, but definitely around the bottom of the sink area. And maybe I'm
Still
not
doesn't
sure.
explain the hair to me. It had a follicle in it. You haven't been there since April. There's no way. No way. The blood? No.
Well, the
Blood is mixed with his, and that's the blood that he bled that day when he was killed.
Well,
Print?
I don't know
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
you can check how fresh the blood was.
No, we can't check how fresh it is, but we can go by where it is.
Oh, okay, because I cut myself. When I
And
was,
you're saying that blood that you cut yourself with back, who knows when,
well,
was still on the wall in
Oh.
the exact same spot
oh, I don't know.
where the bloody palm print was.
It was a glass that Travis had that I was using to wash Napoleon with. I used to give him baths, and I dropped it. And when I picked up all the glass, and I'm pretty casual about it because I break glass at work all the time, and it's not a big deal. It's nothing to be scared of. And I was probably just being careless with it, and I sliced myself open. And
Is that how you want to leave this? These far-fetched excuses on why your blood is there, why your hair is there, why your palm print is there, what pictures are there?
I don't know about the picture.
That's how you.
Or did you then continue to talk to her about the killing and some of the other items that have been at the scene?
Then she wants the hose again.
Take a look at exhibits 367 and 368, and are those the conversations that you had with her following the one that we just saw?
We'll do this again, for sure. When there's a few more people in. I wish I had like a Dean or a Lisa like hat signal.
368.
Any objection to 367 and 368?
The ones that have come up so far,
You
fantastic.
may. Exhibit 367 and 368 are admitted.
This is exhibit 367.
What you need to do is you need to apologize to Travis. But you just refuse.
Yeah,
I can't help you anymore if you're not gonna help yourself.
She
You
gets
asked
her
me
hands
prior.
stuck in the cookie
I
jar.
can't, Jodi. You can keep talking till you blue in the face. Man. I can't continue to listen to lies. Do you have anything else that you need to tell me?
Yeah, you asked me what have I been up to in the weeks since I got back.
Mm-hmm.
What did you mean by that?
Just what have you been up to? Because I know this thing has to be weighing pretty heavy on you.
I've been trying to put his death behind me.
It's not a comment on Mormons,
I-
but it is a comment on Jodi, and that's funny.
If I did anything that had anything to do with his death in any way,
It's not if to me.
I wouldn't.
It's not if. It's not if at all.
Well, to me it is. I would be more than remorseful.
Is it maybe something you're blocking out of your head?
I don't think so. I mean, I tend to write everything down. I just finished the book, The Road Less Traveled. And he said, the true definition of sanity is dedication to reality at all costs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at times, I may have, prayed or meditated upon a certain way, like me being wealthy or something like that. But
Well, this is definitely reality. We are sitting here inside of an office, the sheriff's department, and you are facing first-degree murder charges.
what is the
And you
difference?
are
Between
going
eating
to
the
be
gum
put in
off the
jail,
table and the rotating
eventually
doors,
you
I'm
will
starting to
be
think you
brought
guys
back
think
to
she's
Arizona,
elf.
And you will stand trial. That's the reality. And once you realize that, I think you'll be better for it. And if you really wanted to embrace reality, you would sit here and explain to me why this happened. But you refuse. You refuse to embrace reality.
I don't know why he was killed. I don't know why. I had issues with Travis. If anything, he had more issues with me. I've had worse issues with other people. They're all still alive. I'm still friends with my ex-boyfriends. They're all still alive.
I've been doing this a long time. And there's one thing that I can never get out of my head. Ever since the first day I talked to you. There's an old saying that, someone's just not acting right. Look into it. You have not acted right from day one. From day one when I talked to you on that phone, I just sensed that you weren't acting like somebody who used to love this guy or who still loved him, even as a close friend. And even now, when I told you that I have all this evidence against you and that you're facing first-degree murder charges, you're just not acting right, Jodi. You're acting like somebody who's guilty.
How so?
You tell me. I know because I've been doing it a long time. It's taken me a long time to figure it out. But
it's like she's talking to a friend and is interested over coffee.
30 seconds to a minute of a conversation, I know when somebody's acting right. There's a certain way people act.
How did I act?
Okay?
It would
It's not
make you
like
think.
It's not like TV. It's not anything like that. It's not what you see in the movies. I see reality. When I accuse somebody of committing a heinous crime or something very serious, reality hits in and they definitely act a certain way. And that's not you. You act just like everybody else who I accuse of doing a crime, who did it. There's no other way to tell you.
Is it because I'm not crying?
No.
Because I can cry.
It's not because of
Tell
that.
me.
What
Drum
is
up
it?
tears.
I mean, I'm not going to change
Do
how
it.
I act.
No, obviously you can't change what you're at. You're
No, I
acting.
mean, I am who I am.
Okay,
Change
you're
they
sincere the
sound
way you're
music
acting.
over it.
But
Well, how is it?
you're just not telling the truth.
How is it different?
Well, it's not really something you need to focus on anymore. I think you need to focus on the truth, but it's something that you refuse. So if you don't,
I think
if
she's
you don't want to
thinking
continue, then
should have went with bangs a long
we'll
time
just move
ago.
on to the next step.
Listen, it's not that I didn't love Travis. And it's not that I
She's
don't
probably
still
sketching
love him.
herself from the interrogation.
But I really needed to move on.
She is an
And-
artist.
The last,
What prevented you from moving on? Nobody was preventing you from moving on.
well, the only person preventing me really from moving on was myself. And until I made that step and I moved back, moved away, and we communicated gradually less and less and less. And I was fine with that.
That's
I
not
haven't
true.
found the man that I want to
At
marry,
all.
the person I want to spend my life with. But in my mind, Travis did, and I was happy for him. And I thought there was also a part of me that felt, if I stay, I'm going to jeopardize that for him as well. We both deserve to be happy. We both deserve to have, be married in the temple. And that's where he wanted to go.
Yep.
So, I mean, I didn't know that Mimi didn't feel that way. I had never spoken to her except at church when I came down to Arizona. It was really
Like
brief.
Latisha.
And it was the bishop who told me that, she had essentially turned him down. And the last few, now that I think about it, he was really just, in his attitude and stuff. And I just thought maybe that's just because we're just beginning to more distance ourselves. And, he still had his trip planned to come up here. The reason I don't know, it's not that I'm not remorseful that he died. I didn't kill him. I didn't take his life.
He has the right,
Did you have anything to do
but
with
not the ability.
I have nothing to do with his death at all. At all. The reason I hesitate is because
Silent.
maybe this is something that's wrong with me psychologically, is I think of the butterfly effect. And it's like, you could say that the guy pumping gas down at the gas station could have potentially, because you see all these movies, these funky movies where it's like this affected this, which affected this, which affected this, if he had never done this.
I know if you'd never met him, he'd probably still be alive.
That's true.
Yeah, but that's because you killed him.
No,
Jodi, you did.
I did not.
Jodi, you can't convince me otherwise, unless you come up with more proof that you didn't. But I can't prove that
Could it-
anybody else. No, it couldn't have.
Well, what about if the car comes back that it was never even in?
You leave
that
those
area?
butterflies alone.
It still doesn't
Oh.
negate the fact that we have this other evidence. I mean, this is absolutely some of the best evidence I've ever had in a case. And I've convicted a few people on less than this.
Well, so I'm as good as done, right? With that evidence.
Yes.
I just can't admit to something that I didn't do. If it would help my case and give me an easier sentence, I know that people plead guilty for those things.
No, and I don't want you to do that.
No, we want you in for the long run.
That is the absolute last thing I want.
Well, I know
What
that.
I want to do is I want to sit here with you. And I want to go over why you visited him that day, what you guys talked about, what caused you to get so angry, and the details on how it happened. And it's something that you probably don't want to remember, but it's something that I need, because For me to finish a case completely, I need to know not just the details, but what was going through your mind. Because I need to present that as a full picture.
She should have
Because
just
if I
found herself
don't,
as
I
a
don't feel
strong,
like I've
independent woman that
completed my
don't need no man. We wouldn't be
Then
in
my job
any of
is to
this.
speak for him,
Somebody needed to tell her that.
not anybody else. My job isn't to speak for you. My job isn't to speak for his family. It's to speak for Travis. And I know something horrible happened that day. Absolutely horrible. Something that could have been avoided. Whether something was planned, I don't know. Whether you planned it or whether it accidentally happened or something got out of hand, I don't know. All I can do is speculate. And I want to believe that you're not this cold-hearted person that could just go out and do something like this to somebody. I want to believe that, like a lot of people, things got out of control, and before you knew it, it was too late. That's what I want to believe. And that's truly from my heart. Because I sit here and I've talked to you, and I'm talking to you now, and all those conversations we had on the phone, and I don't see a cold-hearted murderer like you would see on TV or that I've seen before sit across from me. That's not what I see in you. And I'm gonna call it begging. I'm begging you to at least come clean and tell me why.
A former
Because
professor of mine who worked in the
I
liberal
don't
arts
want to
program
leave here today
that I used to be the director of, he wrote
not
the
knowing,
novel
because
version
it's gonna follow me
of
forever.
Jagged Little Pill, the musical, which is kind of cool.
I wish that I had answers. I'm sorry.
You need to just let the answers come out.
There's just no reason. There's just no reason.
There's no good reason why this happened. There's never a good reason why somebody dies like this.
How many times was Travis stabbed?
More than I want to remember. And I'm not going to sit here and show you pictures of him after the fact. I don't do that. That's not how I work. That is not for me to do. But eventually those photos will come out. Jodi.
You see that
Jodi,
smirk?
we're here now.
He said, "Look at that! I sold that. I
We're
sold
right
that
here.
cry. Look at that."
I think you're feeling the reality in the moment now.
No, I'm just feeling all of the things that I'm going to potentially miss out on with my family, and I think of all the things that Travis's family is gonna.
Oh, well, maybe she's actually crying now because she's talking about herself and
And he
all she's
has
gonna miss out
brothers
on.
and sisters, and I have brothers and sisters. And it's not fair.
Yep, sure does. Sure
It's
does.
not fair, but this is where we
I
are.
mean, I know that he's in a good place, and I know that he's fine. I know that he's doing great. But what about all of his
Right,
friends,
Janice?
all of his family that are here, and they're just going through all of this, and I know that it's temporary, but it's so very much right now.
But just like Jeopardy, she's only got.
There's
Nope.
just no reason I
Nope.
would ever
That
want
doesn't work.
to hurt him.
Taking that back. Taking it back.
Now, whether you wanted to is a different question.
I'm just saying.
I don't think you wanted to. I really don't think you wanted to. This speaks for itself.
Take a look at Exhibit 368.
Oh,
I have to maintain my innocence. I can't admit to doing something that I haven't done. Part of me wants to cop out and say it.
No.
Well,
If you're gonna cop out, it's because you're telling the truth.
that's not really copping
Okay.
out.
Yeah, I don't want you to sit here and tell me a lie to appease me. That is the worst thing you can do for me. But back there in that mind of yours is somebody
She was
screaming to get out
apparently
and tell
pretty
me what
cut,
happened
though.
that you just got.
no. Small but mighty, you know?
He has done nothing but, except for some mean words that he said. People have said worse to me or just as bad. Except for that, he's helped me, he's given me money, he was selling me his car on the
Then why?
easiest,
Then why,
lamest
Jodi,
terms
why?
ever. There's no reason why.
It just happens.
Sir, after this conversation, did you then have another conversation with the defendant after that day?
Yes, I did.
What day was that?
It's the following day, 16th.
And was it at her request or was it at your request?
I contacted her. At the end of this conversation we had on this day, I asked if she wanted to continue the conversation at a later time, and she agreed.
And the later time was the next day?
Yes, it was.
Did you actually then speak to her, or was it somebody else that actually began to speak with her?
Another detective spoke with her.
And this
She's
detective,
writing with her tiny little
which
pencil.
jurisdiction was this detective?
She,
With my
she
tiny
worked
little
for the
pencil and my
Siskiyou County
tiny
Sheriff's
little-
Department.
That's all I got.
Was his or her name?
Miss Blaney, Detective Blaney at the time.
Let's take a look at some of the snippets involved in that particular conversation. Sure, while she's doing that, take a look at exhibit number 362. Do you see this entry up here at June 4th, 2008 at 11:48 p.m.? Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Is that entry or is that time before or after what we see in exhibit 162? And if you want, I'll give you the,
I can see it. It is after.
so that call was made after
Much of anything there.
this incident here in the photograph.
It was after Travis's death.
You indicated that there was another detective that conducted the
It's almost like a
question.
theme through all the
Were you
night
present
courts.
for it
Yes, I was.
throughout the whole thing?
Yes.
I'm going to show you exhibit number 380. And was the suspect, Ms. Arias, advised of her Miranda warnings the second day?
Yeah, she was.
And does that contain the warning?
Yes.
Most of the addition of exhibit 380.
Judge, may we approach?
You may.
And in fact, you asked her questions about what had happened, right?
Yes. Yes.
And she provided you responses, right?
Yes.
Take a look at this other exhibit. Does this contain another version of events? This is Exhibit 381 that the defendant gave you as to what had happened involving Mr. Alexander.
Yes, it does.
I move for the admission of Exhibit 381.
He canceled on you even coming up here in the first part of June, right? Why did you end up going there then? Is it because he couldn't go? And you guys still wanted to see each other?
Don't go.
Well, when his
Right.
trip the second time got postponed, it was probably last week of May that it was kind of obvious he wasn't going to come then. But he said, "Listen, after Cancun, I have like 2 weeks that I have nothing going on before I go to DC." And he's like, "I think that's the best time." He's like, "I'm going to see if it works out for my friends up north," which would have been Chad Perkins, his friend, and now his wife. And we can do it all then. And I said, "All right." But at that time, I was like, whatever. We'll see. I might just not see you till I go back to Utah. Everyone convenes it. And you there, which everyone's going to do at the end of the month.
So did he know you were coming? The first part of June?
I wasn't even, I had been talking with Ryan at this point. And obviously there's a distance there, and that was difficult. And he really wanted to spend time with me, and I really wanted to spend time with him. And it just seemed like he had made a few comments. When am I going to come out there? And, I was like, as soon as you want, but I didn't think he was serious. And
she had
Ryan Burns.
18 hours to think of all
so
of her answers and stories.
Things began to work out at Casa Ramos with my schedule. Just the Mexican restaurant. And I have a 3-day weekend there. So I thought I'll take this opportunity and go see Ryan. And that was my intention.
What happened when you left? Why did you go the other way? That's my question. Why go to see Travis if you're going to see Ryan as well? And did Travis know you were coming? He knew? I saw you kind of shake your head a little bit at home.
This is hard.
It's okay. Did he know you were coming?
Detective Flores is a
Did you guys
fantastic
talk
listener.
on the phone?
Even though it's bunk, most of it.
What was the discussion about?
Coordinating mostly.
The last conversation you had?
The last long one. We talked a little bit prior to.
Did you guys talk when you were en route to Phoenix?
I don't think she claimed it until her jailhouse interview
Just
before
briefly.
the trial, a couple weeks.
Told him my phone was dying, which is true. I thought I left my charger in Monterey with Matt. I really honestly thought that I left my charger there, and I had been talking all day between just on the phone. I take lots of pictures of myself, and I
noticed.
Because I'm kind of picky about it, and I guess I take them and I'm delete. We'll take 20, I'll be delete.
Keep one?
Yeah, keep 2 or 3 or 1 or none, depending. And so I talked a little bit with John Dixon, who I was maybe going to go to San Diego. There's another place on the list there too.
That was in the same trip?
Yeah, it's a little ambitious, but I thought.
Gosh, that's 2,800 miles.
It doesn't
No,
bother me.
I said
I think I put
he-
25 miles in the car.
I can't remember what I said other than passive.
45 minutes somewhere.
Yeah,
What I meant
where
to
are
say
you
was
flying
he's
out of?
an incredible listener.
Medford. Yeah, that's just about an hour. Anyway, it's a pretty drive. So it was a little ambitious, but I like road trips. And sometimes I have a realistic view of things, unrealistic about my time, and I tend to show up a little later than expected.
If anything, she's
Which is
consistent.
not unusual for me, but
So he knew you were coming. He was expecting you. Now, obviously you guys had, a little encounter. And is that when those pictures were taken? Did he even show you those pictures? It's gonna be hard, Jodi.
Yes, we did. And despite the technological issues,
I feel really powerless.
it ended up being a really
in here.
good conversation. Not all about Jodi.
Do you
And
know what my family's doing?
it's not on this stream. It's on the live video
you
before
know
this
they're
one. I made them
good?
2 separate ones, so it wasn't
I haven't
confusing.
talked to them today. I know they're worried about you. Everybody's just kind of in limbo
Like a
right
tree
now.
on stage.
Is there any
So obviously there was nobody else at the house when you got there. His roommates were gone. Well, there was Napoleon, but
he's a person too?
yeah, I got to meet Napoleon.
I'm so funny.
But nobody else was there.
I think his roommates were there.
You think his roommates were there? Were there cars there? You would have had to have seen their cars. You parked in the driveway.
No, and fine.
right?
There were some technological issues
One
with
roommate parks
reception
in
and
the
signal.
garage and the other one parks outside.
Once we got that settled, it
Well,
was
and
good.
Zach would park on the street a lot when I lived there before. And when he pulled his car into the garage whenever he would work on it.
What makes you think his roommates were there?
I asked him.
What did he say? Who was home?
He said they were there. But I don't know who. The reason I asked, because it's kind of an indication of how quiet we have to be.
What time was that? Do you remember what time you rolled in?
Rolled in.
3.
Still better than some of the things I've been called in the past. I'll take HT anytime.
Wednesday morning?
I think it was for
That
mom.
makes sense.
Yep. That. I love you guys. You guys answer all the questions for me. It's the
You're
best.
pretty sneaky. You go up there and your roommates doesn't even know that you're there.
We do that many, many, many nights.
How did they not
Yes,
see your
patient.
car?
I was sweating. See, I changed my shirt.
I don't know. I was parked.
Oh, you know what? Zach was house sitting for his girlfriend. His girlfriend was on a trip with, was on a cruise with her parents, and he was staying the night at, I think he stayed the night at,
That makes sense because I want to say that his roommate, he said his roommate was home, but I don't remember, but I think he said one roommate.
one
so
roommate.
there's that.
Enrique, he gets up about
And
5:30,
if I'm
6
correct,
o'clock in
then
the
Enrique
morning.
has the room that shares the wall with Travis's room. Which is like,
Yes,
and it's a KV home. Travis always says the walls are really, really thin.
yes. I skimp on that part. Yeah, so Enrique was home, so you were in about 2 or 3 in the morning. But he gets up about 6, and no, he leaves the house about 6 in the morning. And he didn't notice anything different. Did you guys spend the whole day together then? That following day? Did you guys go anywhere? Just stayed in the house?
Slept.
No, after a long trip, I'd sleep too.
Travis stayed up all night waiting. He was watching something on YouTube. Some stupid video. He's like, you gotta see this. And I'm watching and I'm like, this is so boring. I'm like, what? What's the point of that? And he's like, just stupid, pointless stuff. I'm like, okay. I guess everyone's gotta have their time to binge out. Being so driven and deep as he is for this
Or
and social media, it's
conscious
just fun to
nonverbal
watch his stuff.
she chose to do
It wasn't anything profane or bad.
in order to
It's just
say she was emotional?
people like dancing, but they had like boxes of foil on their head. It was just
Or
like
that?
weird, like robotic kind of music.
The pictures that I showed you of you laying on the bed and stuff, is that when those were taken that day?
You know, British
We also made a video. We deleted it
slang? I don't think it's
Video
slang.
that,
on his camera.
on that camera.
Did you get it?
Videos are hard to get once they're erased. They take up so much room.
Yeah.
And whereas pictures are a little different. What happened after that? What went wrong? I know that the last photos of him were taken about 5:20, 5:30. And you said he doesn't like you to take pictures of him and stuff.
He was very private about the shower. Like
Is that why you were taking pictures of him in the shower?
no,
Trying to get back at him.
no.
I'm surprised he allowed you to take pictures of him in the shower. At first view, it looked like he wasn't too comfortable, but obviously whatever you were saying to him made him a little more comfortable.
I remember clearly.
You remember that? What went wrong? Did he say something to you? Were you angry about something? Were you frustrated? What was it?
Oh man, he's working that T9 texting.
Something happened at that point, and I don't know what it was.
What are they going to do with the rental car they're going to bring here?
What are they going to do with the rental car?
There were several photos of him, and the last one that we have is him sitting in the shower. And that's when I think it happened. He was sitting down, looking up at you.
Yep.
What did you do? What happened, Jodi? We've gone this far. Did you plan on doing that the whole time?
Provided wires are removed. I believe.
Then why?
Some states have their own.
Tell me.
Which are usually just from other prisoners. Is it?
I don't believe you planned it. But then I don't understand why you took a gun with you.
Oh, I didn't.
Where does that come from then? Where did you get it?
Oh,
Everybody
really?
says he didn't have
No,
one.
state to state, state to state. Because I gave it a quick Google. Because when you guys ask questions, I try to answer them for you, no matter what they are.
Where did you get it? If you didn't take it. Did he have one in the house?
Not to my knowledge.
Then where did you get it? Did you bring it with you? Did you get it there in Arizona?
I didn't ever have it, actually. And have it in my possession.
Then who had it?
It's easy to be good to you because you're good to me.
If you had it and Travis didn't have it, then who had
I
it?
don't know what that voice was, but hey, here we are.
Jodi. Please.
Jodi.
Why not? Are you protecting somebody else?
All right. We're going to hit pause on that. I had promised myself that around midnight, since the day was so long, that we'd hit a pause. Oh, we have so much more to look forward to, though, for sure. Oh, yes. That has got to be a job. A job, for sure. Boy, if you have any stories that you're comfortable sharing and you want to email them to me to read, I would love to do so. And if they fall under the WTF Act, we can read those on a Sunday. Obviously, you can remove any identifiable information. You know, I don't know exactly what the laws are for that. I can tell you about HIPAA, but I can't tell you about anything else. Oh boy, what a day. It's been a long day. I am a pumpkin by now. For sure. Oh, please send them. Just if you like, your top 3 would be awesome. Yeah. So, lot happened today. You can go back and check out our interview this morning with Mark Shiner. Was wonderful. He was so complimentary of just the channel, and Brandi ended up pointing out something in the 911 call that he hadn't heard, and we were able to slow it down. And he was like, "You got to stop pointing out things I missed." Which, come on, it's Brandi. We all know she pays attention real nicely. And then, of course, there was the day stream, and then we had our interview with Kirk. And then we popped into this. It's been a day, everybody. And thanks for sticking with us. Some of y'all have been here the whole time, and we sure appreciate that. Let's see. Day court's going to start tomorrow. I think court starts at 9:15. So Brandi's probably going to be starting this. That's 9:15 Eastern. Brandi starts the stream probably between 8:50 and 9 o'clock Eastern. And then there's no night court tomorrow, but we will bump right back into it on Wednesday. And then if you're a member and you've had a chance to go watch the sidebar that I posted on Sunday, it's gotten pretty good reviews from everybody. They seem to enjoy it. I'm going to keep doing it to fill the Sundays that we don't have WTF. And the next one that oh, sugar. What's the next one that I'm doing? I can give you guys that information now before you all drift off to dreamland. 1 second. Where is it? Okay. It's a murder that happened in Saskatchewan, and it was called the Shell Lake murders, and it was Victor Ernest Hoffman. You can look him up. And so with this case, we're going to talk about the murders. We're going to talk about the lead up, and then also kind of the aftermath. And we're going to hit on mental health, specifically in Canada, because this is where this happened. So I'm really interested. I'm really excited to be able to record that for you, provide you some visuals, and do that not this Sunday, but next Sunday, because this Sunday's WTF. Anyways, we'll announce it again, but I'm excited to be able to put that out for you all. And you all have a wonderful night. I appreciate you all. And good grief. Take care of yourself. Take care of your friends and family. And don't forget to smile. Just not creepy. Don't smile creep. Don't forget to smile, everybody. Have a good night. do always forget the gavel. I'm gonna write up. I'm gonna put a notepad on my screen to do it. Yeah, before and after. All right, everybody. Bye.